Well, as we predicted in early September, and I played you that soundbite, I'm not going to play it again. The autumn was going to be really rough for President Biden, and it has been really rough. Approval numbers are in the 30s. Trump is beating him in all the polls. The economy is, coming up a bit in a macro sense, but people are still paying far too much for essentials. And it goes on and on and on. Southern border, Putin, Israel, Hamas, never ends. But perhaps the worst thing for Joe Biden is Hunter Biden, his own son. And that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. So as you know, Hunter Biden was subpoenaed to sit for a deposition in front of the House Oversight Committee. He defied that subpoena. He showed up. We showed it last night. We're going to show you a little bit of it in a moment. Arrogant, very arrogant. He's going to say, I'm not answering the subpoena. I'm not going to do that. Now, his father, the president of the United States, had to know he was going to defy the subpoena. Had to know it. All right? Yet, if it were me and I'm the president, I'd say, you got to sit for that deposition. So do you. Can't have people defying legal subpoenas. I mean, and if you do, you got to pay a price. Okay. So Hunter shows up and he says, not answering questions. I'll do it publicly. I'll do it the way I want. Here's the soundbite. Go.
Here I am, Mr. Chairman, taking up your offer when you said we can bring these people in for depositions or committee hearings, whichever they choose. Well, I've chosen. I am here to testify at a public hearing today to answer any of the committee's legitimate questions.
That's not your call, Zeke. Zeke, a nickname. Okay, if they issue a subpoena, you got to answer the subpoena. Okay, no, I'm not doing it. I'm Hunter Biden. So I'm sitting there going, this is absurd. Totally ridiculous. And the rest of the diatribe that Hunter Biden put forth was he's the victim. Witch hunt, MAGA, Republicans. Hey, look, Zeke, tens of millions of dollars flowed to you. Tens of millions of dollars. While your father was vice president and you were riding around on taxpayer expense on Air Force Two. We can't tell, we the people, what you did to earn any of that money. The fact is, you didn't do anything. And if you did, let's see what it is presented to us. So we have a right to know if you, Hunter Biden, sold influence, because that is illegal. Your father had to know what you were doing. There isn't a father on earth whose son is amassing tens of millions of dollars who doesn't know that. He had to know. He's on the plane with you many times, China, Europe, all over the place. But he said, oh, I never talked to my son about this. Oh, no. Come on. Come on. So you have to answer questions in front of the congressional committee. That's what it's about. If the congressional committee didn't care about this country would be more corrupt than it is now. Because not one Democrat, not one in the House of Representatives voted to investigate what you, Hunter Biden, were doing. How you got the money. Democratic Party doesn't want to know. They don't care to know. That representing the folks, that good for the United States? Go ahead, do it. No, it's not. All right, so Republicans, because this is a partisan issue, obviously. Every Republican voted, by the way, in the House to hold Hunter Biden and Joe Biden accountable and investigate what the situation is. Every Republican voted for, every Democrat voted against. Here's what the head of the Oversight Committee said. Go.
So the House Oversight, House Judiciary Committee are conducting this credible investigation that an overwhelming majority of Americans want. We have specific questions for the president's son. He does not get to dictate the terms of this subpoena.
Correct. He does not. But seems to be okay with the President of the United States. Here's what his spokesperson said. Go.
Look, the president was certainly familiar with what his son was going to say. And I think what you saw was from the heart from his son. And you've heard me say this. You've heard the president say this. When it comes to the president and the first lady, they are proud of him continuing to rebuild his life. They are proud of their son.
So they're proud the son defied the congressional subpoena. Okay. Yet another reason not to vote for Joe Biden or the Democratic Party. I don't know how many reasons you need, but we're proud. Hunter doesn't answer. So what? Now, I'm not going to get into personal stuff, but I will tell you this. If my son amassed tens of millions of dollars, I'd want to know exactly how he did it. And if he were using a government jet to do that, I would say we are reimbursing the government for every cent of that. And if he lied about it, and if he defied a subpoena, he'd be hanging from his ankles from a tree in the front yard of my home. Okay? But apparently, my standards are not Joe Biden's standards. Let's just leave it that way. Now, the exact same thing, and I mean the exact same thing, happened to Steve Bannon, Trump's main guy. So on September 23rd, 2021, Steve Bannon was issued a subpoena by the House Select Committee to testify about things that happened within the Trump administration. He refused. Bannon would not answer the subpoena. He was indicted, federal grand jury. Okay, I made a mistake. I thought the FBI arrested him, but the FBI did not arrest him. Bannon turned himself in. Okay, so he went through the process. Bannon did, said, I'm not guilty. They had a court case, a jury. Jury said, you are guilty, Steve. And the judge sentenced him to 4 months in prison, fined him $6,500. Bannon appealed. That appeal is still underway. It's more than a year. There was some illness and a part of some of the attorneys or whatever, but that appeal should have been heard a long time ago. Now, Bannon's going to lose the appeal. He's going to have to serve the 4 months. Okay? Now, Merrick Garland has to do the same thing to Hunter Biden. I know some of you will say, oh, no. He has to. Because if he doesn't, if Hunter Biden isn't indicted by the Justice Department and prosecuted, then the House of Representatives will certainly impeach Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland's butt's on the line. Okay, they'll impeach him. Will they get a conviction? No, but they'll embarrass him. He's already embarrassed. Why do you think there are new charges against Hunter Biden? 9 new charges, 3 felonies, 6 misdemeanors on evasion of taxes. Why do you think that is? Think Merrick Garland wanted to do that? He didn't want to do it. He had to do it. The pressure was so immense on him. And now he's got another situation. You do this to Bannon, you got to do it to Hunter, because it's exactly the same. So that's going to play out. All of this hurts President Biden. All of it. Every time Hunter Biden's name is mentioned and tens of millions of dollars are mentioned, suspicion falls on Joe Biden. Now, maybe that's not fair, okay? Because it is true there has been no public evidence set forth that Joe Biden did anything wrong. And Senator Chuck Grassley, all right, stated that yesterday. Go.
And I'm going to just follow the facts where they are, and the facts haven't taken me to that point where I can say that the president's guilty of anything.
That's true. And I admire Grassley, a Republican, for saying it. But you don't stop an investigation. Obviously, you continue it to see, as an American, not just a journalist, but if Joe Biden alleges that he, the president of the United States, lent his brother and son money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, well, all you got to do is show us the check you wrote or the wire transfer. And then it's over. Then you lent them the money, they paid you back. Now, legally, you had to charge them some interest, but you could show that too. Yeah. And the Democrats, I don't care. We don't care. It's fine. But Grassley is saying at this point in history, you couldn't convict Joe Biden of anything, and you couldn't. But 2 months down the road, you might be able to. And that's what they fear, that President Biden did take money from his brother and his son. But it has not yet been demonstrated. All right. So this story is now turning the liberal corporate media upside down because they see the danger here down the road. Doesn't really matter. The forces that prop up the Democratic Party are not going to stop propping it up. Roll the tape.
House Republicans have voted to approve an impeachment inquiry into President Biden, even though they admit there is no evidence to impeach him. Guys, come on, that's kind of step one. Thank you all for coming to our wedding today. The ceremony will begin shortly, just as soon as I find a bride.
Well, they're cowards. I think you can fairly say of the so-called moderate Republicans in the House, they're always there when you don't need them. Yeah. But when there's actually something of consequence, they cave.
Now, Schiff, you expect it, all right, that he's intellectually dishonest all day long. Colbert is more interesting to me. CBS pays Colbert to just spout liberal propaganda. That's all he does. He's not funny. Very few people watch him as compared to the former hosts. And he goes, there's no evidence to impeach him. This is what Colbert said to his audience. His audience is a bunch of seals. They don't know anything. Okay. There's not an impeachment here, Steve. It's an inquiry. It's an investigation. Well, no evidence. No evidence. You see, you gather evidence by investigating. That's how you do that. It's just so blatantly stupid. Yet, day in and day out, and day in and day out. What you see. And that's a memo. Everything is expensive these days, you know that. The government is printing trillions of dollars and consumer prices higher than ever. If the government continues its printing and spending, the dollar could continue its free fall and lose its coveted role as the world reserve currency. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But there are a few things you can do right now. American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your money, your retirement, your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. Start with a short phone call, and they can have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your 401k or IRA. So please call or text them right now. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you. Call 866-501-5201. That's 866-501-5201 or text Bill to 65532. Again, 866-501-5201 or text Bill to 65532. Senator Joe Manchin taking a 2-month tour of the country and says that when he finishes, he'll decide whether to run for president on a third party. So this is getting pretty late for Manchin. I don't know if he can put that campaign together. But my question was, who's paying for this? His 2-month jaunt, going everywhere. He'll get some media attention. And we don't know. I suspect he has a campaign fund, Manchin, okay, because he was a senator from West Virginia. He's got, suspect a campaign fund is paying for this. I think Manchin is basically an honest guy. If he does decide to run, which again, get pretty late, he'll hurt Biden. So look for the media to cripple Joe Manchin. Okay, you wait and see. The attacks against him will start to mount. Because if he gets in, RFK Jr. is hurting Biden a little bit, about 2 points. Manchin will hurt him 7, 8 points if he gets in. Smart life. So this is one of our most successful projects, the Smart Life segment on the No Spin News. And sometimes I use concierge members' letters to make a point, and I'm going to do that tonight. So concierge membership means that you have a special email that goes directly to me, and you can discuss with me anything that you want. And I will try to help you, number one, and number two, advise you on matters that I can't directly get involved with. And number three, basically answer any questions about the news or my take on it, give you a personal answer. It's an insurance policy for your life. It is very inexpensive. You sign up, you get a free book. There's no reason not to sign up for BillO'Reilly.com concierge membership, because down the road, you're probably going to need us. Everything that we do in the concierge program is confidential. Okay, your name will never be mentioned, ever, in any context. Smart Life today. So I get a letter from a very nice woman. I can tell by the tone of the letter and the way it's written. Okay, this woman is suffering because Christmas is coming up. And there are millions of Americans in this very same position. They're apprehensive, they're tense. The reason that she is apprehensive is because her sister-in-law doesn't like her. All right? And her sister-in-law is the steward of the two grandchildren, which the woman adores, whom the woman adores. All right? As most grandparents do. The sister-in-law, not given access that much to the grandma. Okay. So they're all getting together on Christmas, and this woman is very fearful. So here's what I told her. I said, no, you are not going to convince your sister-in-law to like you, number one. Accept it. There may be many reasons, jealousy among them. A lot of jealousy in families, a lot. But there's no way that you're going to sit down with her on a one-on-one and have her like you. It's not going to happen. So what you have to do is, number one, talk to your son, the man who's married to your sister-in-law, in a very kind, gentle way, and say, I'm a little upset because I'd like to have a good relationship with Naomi or whoever it is. And most of all, I want to have access to my grandchildren. What do you recommend? Ask your son for his recommendation. Now, he may be a waffle guy. He may be a weakling, and you might not get any satisfaction. Okay? But that's step number one. And then you ask him to keep the conversation confidential. He may not. But there's nothing wrong with you talking to your son about a family situation. Okay? So that's where you start. Maybe if he's a real man, he could help. I could broker this, but maybe he can't. So let's assume that the son isn't able to do anything. You still have everybody over, and you're kind to everybody. You act the same. No snippy stuff, none of this. You don't have to cozy up to the daughter-in-law. You just be kind, nice. That's all. And of course, the grandchildren, you smother them with Christmas stuff. You try to make them as happy as you can make them. That's what you do. Now, if the sister-in-law insults you, which she very might do, you ignore it. It's like that Star Wars shield. You just put it out there. Boo, 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 boo. Doesn't matter what she says. If she tries to embarrass you, then you have to pull your son aside and say, look, for the sake of Christmas and the children, can you put an end to this? You have to do that. But you got to overlook. And I know it's hard. It's easy for me to say, all right? I know it is. But you have to conduct yourself. You have to elevate. You now being everybody, Smart Life. You have to elevate above the pettiness. As hard as it is. Look, my natural instinct, and you know this for watching me for 25 years, is to snap back, to hit them right between the eyes. All right? Don't take any guff. And a lot of times that's the way to do it, but not in these family things. No. It's like you have to be very disciplined, Kind, even in the face when the other person isn't. All right? That's a smart life. And I hope it works out for every family this Christmas. It should be a very, very relaxing, fun time. Okay, concierge membership, hope you check that out. Safest and most dangerous countries, 2024. Here are the safest. Iceland, very safe, except for the volcano. Got to watch out for that. Luxembourg, it's like 7 streets long, Luxembourg. Nice little place, big castle. Norway, safe. Switzerland, safe. Denmark, safe. Been to all those countries. They're all worth visiting. 5 most dangerous countries. South Sudan, most dangerous. I don't know anybody who's going there, by the way. Afghanistan, been there, very dangerous. Syria, been there, very dangerous. Libya, no, I haven't been there. Somalia, no, I haven't been there. I wouldn't go to any of them, ever. None of those countries, ever, would I go to unless I had to. All right? So I had to cover the Afghan war, so I went. Would I go back? If I had to. But nobody's going to any of those places. I'm going to give you some dangerous countries that everybody's going to. Everybody, I mean, Mexico. Watch your butt there. I won't go anyway because I think their government's corrupt and I'm not going to help them. Central America, with the exception of Belize. Belize looks to me to be under control. I wouldn't be hanging out in Belize City, but the resorts look pretty well. Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, forget it. Honduras, forget it. Costa Rica, everybody, Costa Rica. You got to watch your butt. Panama, same thing. Watch it. In the Caribbean, you got to watch yourself in Jamaica. You can stay in the resorts, all inclusive, that's fine. Watch yourself. Let me tell you a story about a guy named Leo Grillo. Leo was on a road trip, came across a Doberman. His dog was severely underweight, clearly in trouble. Leo rescued that Doberman and named him Delta. And this inspired Leo to start Delta Rescue, the largest no-kill, care-for-life animal sanctuary in the world. They have rescued thousands of dogs, cats, and horses. Do you know what Leo's mission is? Dedication and everlasting love to the animals. That will be Leo's legacy. Delta Rescue relies solely on contributions from people like you and me. Speak with your estate planner because there are tax-saving estate planning benefits. You can grow your estate while letting your love for animals live well into the future, leaving a legacy for those animals who need it the most. So please visit deltarescue.org today to learn more. Here's the final thought of the day. I want to take a moment, actually about 30 seconds, to thank our radio affiliates. About 100 stations take the No Spin News audio at night, most of them. WABC in New York, 9 p.m., our flagship. Then we do the updates during the day. More than 300 stations take them. It's a powerful cannon to get the word out. Hannity is on today. We talked about Christmas today. We'll post it on BillO'Reilly.com. It's a nice conversation, a gentle conversation. But it's so important, the radio, because television doesn't put on any traditional people anymore. Total blackball across the board. Didn't used to happen. I was on Letterman and Leno and Kimmel and Good Morning America, Today's Show, all of that. I mean, many, many, many times, Jon Stewart, you all saw me. They wiped it out. That's how bad the television industry is now. No matter what kind of book you have, what kind of stance you have, they're not going to put you on. Wrong. News Nation will. I'm on with Cuomo tonight. Check it out. And thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.